Okay, so I couldn't find anyone that had template. The place that's local that cuts glass, they said, hey, look, we used to have a template for it, but it got washed away in the hurricane. But if you bring your truck down here, we could cut it out. And I was like, well, I can't really drive the truck down there without a windshield, and I don't want to have to tow it down there. Plus, I don't even know if you would leave it outside or what, you know, how soon are you going to get to it? So that really threw me off. Then I called Peterbilt, and Peterbilt says, look, the glass is going to cost $565, but here's the problem. We don't have any in stock, and if you want to get one, you'd have to go, this last time I called them, $565, because they have to order 5. They have to order 5 windshields with each order. They won't ship a single one. They won't do nothing for you. So they said, well, we have one we can see on the computer, because I called every Peterbilt from here to South Carolina one day. And they said, look, we have one in Tampa. I'm like, good night. Tampa's a whole long way away. And then they had one in Iowa. I'm in South Mississippi. They have one in Montana. I'm like, no, I don't go to Montana. So that really became a stickler. So finally, I said, well, I'm really gonna have to go get it, because I called another local guy, and he had been working on it and working on it. He said he was working on it. He never could find one, and he couldn't find the dimensions of it, so he couldn't cut it. So I said, fine, I'm just gonna cut a big rectangle out. So I go to the glass place and say, hey, I just want to cut a big rectangle. They said, no. We've been doing this like 50 years. This thing's got a curve in it. This thing's gonna have a curve. They don't make them that easy. They're not just rectangle. So they didn't want to cut it. So I said, well, it's kind of hard to argue with someone who's been doing something for 50 years, but I should have, because this is a perfect rectangle. At least it looks like a perfect rectangle to me. So I ended up finding one on windshieldstogo.com. They said they had one in Mobile, which is like an hour and a half away. It's like, great. They called back and said, wait. It's actually in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I drove all the way to Little Rock, Arkansas, picked it up for $185. Came back in one piece, thank God. And we're getting ready to put it in. So I want to show you the dimensions, because if you have these dimensions, you can just go ahead and have one cut. Now you better not knock that over. Yeah, I've been waiting a while to get that piece of glass. You better not knock that over. You're not gonna get any more milk bones. All right, I even got a tape measure here, so you're gonna be able to see. If you've got yourself one of these problem child, put this tape measure right here. And it is 83 1/4. All right, now let's go ahead and do the lengthwise. I know it's not right on the edge, but it's on a piece of carpet there. But this is gonna be about right on 24 1/4. We'll even go in the middle here, just so you can see it doesn't bow out. $24 1/4. So it's my understanding this is a nice, perfect rectangle. If I break this thing, I'll tell you what. Okay, so that's for an 87 Peterbilt 362. I think probably you can find most of these are the same. Just take a rough estimate. If it's 83 1/4 from that edge of that gasket to the edge of that gasket, I think you'll be fine. But don't make it too complicated like I did. Well, these old trucks, they become a complicated mess because there's just not anybody around anymore that works on them really. So, but you just remember, there was a time in this country where we did things that were good, and they're also simple. And this is pretty simple. It's not complicated at all. So to put it in, you drop in the lower part into the gasket, and then you use some kind of rubber spatula or something to pull that gasket on the upper lip over the top of it, and then you can start forming your rope in there. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna put a little silicone in on the upper parts, just because I don't want this thing to leak. If you know anything about the Peterbilt 362s, these windshields right here in the corners, they leak, the frames get all messed up, and then they just start rotting out, and then they crack, make you a big mess. So hope that helps out. Let's go ahead and get this windshield in. Okay, we've got the windshield set in there. This really is not that hard to do, to get the windshield in. You want to set, when you put the windshield up, you want to set it in this bottom gasket. And I haven't put the rope in yet to compress it in, but I have done the top one, and that's not too hard to do either. But the trick is, once you get that in, you need to run something to pull this gasket on the other side. And one of the things you want to do is, well, what I did is, first I tried to use like a liquid with some soap in it to have enough. You want some lubrication, so that when you're pulling that flat edge across it to flip this over. And really what you do is you get this top lip to really just set on top, okay? Not all the way over, just to set on top of the glass. And then once you get it far enough in, then it'll start folding all the way over. But I found that the putty knife, I was using a putty knife, a plastic one, of course, to go across the edge of this and to get it setting over. I had a lot of trouble getting that thing to come over until I used a WD-40. Put that inside the gasket, put that on either side of this piece of glass, and even got the putty knife with some oil on it. And once I did that, it just slid all the way over, and it popped down. Now the other thing to look for that I was not very pleased with is these, it's a Chinese made glass. See how close that edge is? I ended up taking a Dremel tool and grinding some of those edges down. We'll see how that holds up. But if I had this piece of glass cut, I would try to use, you see this corner glass right here? The edge. See how that edge got a nice cut on it? This one wasn't cut correctly. So you would want to really theoretically pull that edge out a little bit more. And I'm probably going to put some silicone on this to go ahead and fill this gap in a little bit better. Because this right here, the water falls down and goes inside these edges and inside this edge. I think this is bad. The gasket really only fills in from here to here on the metal brace that goes on top of it. So watch out for these edges. I'm concerned still, this edge, if it were to hit that screw, you hit a bad bump. And but I think I got it far enough away from the screw now. But before, that was actually touching the screw. And so I think we would have had a broken windshield without a doubt. But grinded it down a little bit. I might put a little glue on the edge. We'll see. But yeah, it's not too bad putting the windshield in. You might, if you got a two-piece front windshield, this is a three-piece set, but if you have a four-piece, which would be two rectangles in the front, it'd be a lot easier to do by yourself. But by yourself with the one piece, it bows a lot, and so you want to be able to kind of pull and push to get it in to sit in this gasket. That becomes a little bit more of a trick, but we're getting there. Okay, you can see the corner here. You see right here, I'm afraid water can come down into here and then get behind that glass and then drip down. And so that's where I'm putting the silicone. I'm putting the silicone here and putting a little in here. And this is right here is the piece that goes on the ends, and the gasket that sits in between this piece of metal, it actually doesn't go the whole length, which is kind of interesting how that design works. But that gap on the top is one I'm really concerned about, and so I'm siliconing that in. I'll show you the one I already did. So here's the one I did, and you can see I put some tape down both edges. Then I put the silicone in here. Oh, let me get my finger. Put the silicone inside of there, then mounted it, and then put some silicone just on the edges and hit it in the back. So did the same on the bottom. So hopefully if water that does get back there would be able to get out the back side, but we can eliminate water from coming in the side, water from coming in this side and getting in that windshield. I don't know how well that's gonna work. I've never used that product before. We're gonna see how it does, and I'll keep you updated. If it's a total failure, we'll try something different. But for now, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna do the other side, and this windshield should be wrapped up. All right, well, here's the finished product. Got the cab tilted up so you can see it better. But I got the windshield in, looks good. I got the wipers in, and I use these little grommets. Man, you can get like 200 of these from Amazon for like $9, and they come in very handy, and it keeps it in there real nice. The windshield wipers work good. The fluid works good. And you can, let me show you where I put that sealant. I put that silicone kind of right in here. Now, I'm not saying you should do that, okay? I'm testing it out, because one of the things that is different, well, it's kind of the same with every truck, but one of the things that's really different with the cab over is see how much you tilt that cab up to service it. Well, when you tilt the cab up like that, you got to imagine this frame's kind of moving in and out. So if you have something that's in there too tight, I would think that you're going to have problems with that glass breaking. It's very fragile, so won't be surprised to so don't take this as like professional advice to do this as a windshield. In fact, I see some guys that are putting sealant inside of the gasket. I didn't see anywhere that said to do that. This rope is supposed to, right here, this rope is supposed to tighten against that and keep it sealed up. And then this brace helps keep the windshield in. Putting glue on the glass, my concern would be that this thing flexes and then crack, you know, on that windshield, because it is very fragile. It's surprising that you would use something so fragile. It's gonna be taking so much wind. Anyways, that's what it looks like. It was really not that hard to do. About anybody could do that, and we're set to go though. All right, well, that's it. So we got this thing ready to go. We got the windshield in, we got the side windows in. It looks really good. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it holds up against the rain and the weather. So I'll keep you updated, because again, don't take this as professional glass advice. Please don't do this if you don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm gonna find out how well this holds up as I go along, but I think it's gonna hold up good. I just don't want you to just think that I've done this 100 times. I haven't. This is the first time I've ever put in a piece of glass like this in a truck. But right now we're gonna go ahead and get this thing finished up on some little things to get it ready for a DOT inspection, and get this thing out the door and on the road making some money. So we'll see you on the next one. All right.